So we are recording for English 115. We're in week 9. And as you know, this class, the acronym is English 115, and it's really about half and half. It's half based on critical thinking, critical reading, things that affect the brain, memory processing, test-taking strategies, critical thinking skills. And the other half are writing skills. And this next assignment, which is your first significant essay, will be a true marriage of both of those things. Ultimately, what you're going to do is you're going to be doing some research and finding content and educating yourself on a particular portion of the brain. And you're going to write an informative research essay, actually just an informative essay based on what you learn. And so everything in this essay, it'll be a big deal. We want to do MLA formatting and everything. This is true demonstration of your writing skills that we've been working on thus far. As you know, we've worked very heavily on MLA document design, what it has to be set up like, formatting. And then also we've been working on things like transitions and some sentence flow, the order, the organization. So in this week, there is only one activity. It shows two. It shows we have topic choice discussion board, and then you also see topic choice forum. Now, that second one is just for me. You don't have to do anything with it. That's why I logged the grade in for your discussion forum. And I'm going to talk about our discussion forum really quickly. Essentially, you're going to choose a topic. So I'm going to touch base with this, and then I'm going to come back to it as well. In the discussion forum, the assignment, this is the only assignment for you this week. This is the only activity that you have to post on. And it looks deceptively short. The actual assignment itself is not laborious. It should be very quick and easy, but it's a brainstorming activity meant to help you begin thinking about this essay you're going to have to write. I'm going to be talking about the essay in a minute, and I'll come back to the topic choice. But essentially, where we're at is week 9. And as I said before, the only activity you have assigned to you to have done before Sunday is the topic choice, and it needs to be in the discussion forum. So you're going to need to post it, and I'll talk about that in detail a little bit later. I don't want to do it right now. What I want to do first instead is introduce you to a couple of resources. The first resource is at the OWL Purdue Online Writing Lab. And as I said before, this is our first significant essay, our first significant writing. We've been doing some dry runs, some kind of scaffolding, shorter items where you've been learning about the MLA document design, those kinds of things. And we're really going to start applying them in this essay. So I want to start with making sure you understand the writing process. The writing process is a bit recursive, which means it kind of comes back and forth with itself. You go back and forth with some steps, almost circular in some areas. So the first stage of the writing process is brainstorming. That's where we're at right now. That's week 9. Week 9 this week, you're going to spend brainstorming and looking and discovering topics. And then you're going to post to the forum, and people are going to respond helping you in your brainstorming, okay? After brainstorming, then you do your outlining. And outlining is really kind of the skeleton of what you want to write about. So in relationship to whatever topic you're thinking about, what are elements of that topic you're going to include in your essay? That will be like your outlining. And then the rough draft. The rough draft is really just where you're getting your ideas on paper, you start messing around with the organization, what will come first, second, third. Quite often, students find this the most problematic, and they get hung up on it. I usually assign an article, and I do it in my English course 103 and 104. I did not assign it for you, but there's an author named Anne Lamott. If you have a chance, look up this article. Her name is Anne Lamott, and she wrote an article, and the title of the article is Shitty First Drafts. In this article, what she talks about is, as writers, we sometimes get hung up. We can't even get started because we know it's not what we want. It's not worded the right way. It's really rough. It's not, in our mind, it's not good. Literally, it's just shitty. It's shitty first draft. But as a writer, what she tells you is you got to just start somewhere. You just get it on the page. The writing process is recursive, which means you're going to be going back and revising. You're going to be going back and making it better. You're going to be going back and improving. So don't get hung up on that first round. Just get your stuff on paper, because you can't do any revising until you've actually started. So your rough draft, don't be worked up about it if you have mistakes, if it's not the right order, if your sentences don't look good. It's really the purpose of the rough draft is getting your ideas on paper and trying to make them coherent enough so that you can look at, okay, what else do I need to maybe either research or add in my essay. After you have your rough draft, that's when revising and editing begins on your paper. So you have your rough draft. Now you go back and start rereading and saying, oh, this would sound better this way. Or maybe you look at the order. You're like, oh, this should come before that one. You look at things like, how does it sound? Does it make sense to the reader, the way it's being said? After revise and editing, you go back and again, you're continuing to do this back and forth with your rough draft, or I call it a working draft. This is where it's recursive. One revision, one editing is probably not enough. You're probably going to do this 3 or 4 times, where you go back and change and go back and continue to change until you're happy, until finally you get to polishing your writing. Polishing means you are working out any of the bugs, any possible little things to get it in the best shape you can. A lot of times this is where proofreading comes in. You look for typos. You look at the way things sound, make sure you use the right homonym. Homonyms are 2 words that sound exactly alike, but they're spelled differently and they have different meanings. So these are things like, did you use the right there? Did you use the right to? Those are the kinds of things you're just polishing and making sure you caught all those little things. I often associate this with proofreading. At this stage also, it's really good. Someone can read it out loud to you. Do you hear what you think you see? A lot of times when we're doing our own reading of our own writing, our brain sees what we want it to see, which is why it makes sense to us, but to the reader, it may not make sense or flow. So at that stage, so you may be going back and forth between the revising and the editing and the rough draft several times before you publish. And publish, for the purposes of this class, means you're submitting for a grade. So I just wanted to introduce the writing process. That resource is on our Moodle page in week 9 if you want to review that a little more in detail. But I want to encourage you that writing is a process, which means it means multiple back and forth. So if you think you're going to just sit down and write something and that's it, that's not the writing process. That's brainstorming and that's drafting. The process is actually going back, revisiting it multiple times, improving it in various ways. Now, for this particular week, you are starting, you're just brainstorming. That's where we're at. We're in the brainstorming stage of this essay. But what I think is helpful to you is I'm going to go over the instructions of the essay. we're going to spend the next 2 weeks, it'll be due on the 3rd week, dedicated to writing this essay. So all of that writing process is going to be happening, and you're going to have to submit the final essay in, I believe it's week 11. Yeah, it'll be the week of November 16th through the 32nd. So not next week, but the week after. So the next 2 weeks are dedicated to this. So totally we're spending 3 weeks on this essay. It's a lot of time. What does that tell you? It tells you this is going to count for a heavy grade. It's heavily weighted. And you're going to want to do the best you can on this essay. Now, you're probably asking, well, what is the essay? What do we got to do? Let's go over the instructions. In week 9, I've given you, it says brain research essay instructions. So when you click on that, it'll download the instructions in the file, and you just simply open that file, and I have given you detailed instructions for this essay. So what are you going to be writing about in this essay? Basically, I want you to use the internet to do some research on an area of the brain and how it learns. Now, it needs to be related to our class. So what does that mean? It means anything we've talked about so far absolutely is free game. You can look at memory, how memory works, long-term memory, those kinds of things. But essentially, you are surfing the web, going on the internet to inform yourself more about a topic that interests you within the brain and learning. And I am going to put that caveat, brain and learning. So it has to be linked to this class in some way, shape, or form. You're going to educate yourself more on source, through reading and researching about that topic that you choose. And then your goal is to write an essay to inform the reader about what you learned. So your essay, you're informing the reader what you learned. So while you are searching, while you are looking at sites, all those kinds of things, you want to be taking notes, right? You want to be able to go back to them. Your goal is to gather enough information to create an informative essay about this particular topic. And keep in mind, you're learning about that topic. So it's crucial when you are reading and reviewing your sourcing that you understand the material. You have to understand what you're reading, because everything in the essay has to be your own words. I do not want any quoting. I don't want any in-text citation. I don't want any works cited page. None of that is required in this essay. You are simply telling the reader what you learned about that topic. So you have to do it in your own words. There's no copy paste. There's no taking from your sourcing. You can focus on any of the areas we've discussed so far. Doesn't matter to me. But whatever you end up reading, using to obtain knowledge, it must be from a credible source. And we're going to talk about how do you determine if it's credible. The big thing I say is use the CRAP test. I'm going to talk about the CRAP test in detail in a minute. But it's crucial that you understand if it's a credible source or not, and you only obtain information and share that information within your essay from credible sourcing. So because it's the internet, it's a different world for learners now. It's not a matter of if you can find information. You can always find information. That's not the issue. The issue is it quality information? You got to use discernment, and is it credible? The internet, I feel, is filled with just as much misinformation as it is accurate information, and you need the skills to be able to discern credible sourcing so that you get accurate information. That's what the CRAP test is going to help you with. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. But it's very, very important that you only use credible sourcing to obtain information on the internet. So here we're going to do, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. So once you choose your topic in relationship to brain and learning, you will also need to include 3 areas of that topic you're going to cover within the essay. So let's pretend you're interested in the area of memory loss. Memory loss is what you want to focus on. So then the question is, what 3 areas of memory loss are you going to focus on and tell the reader about in your paper? Maybe you're going to talk about symptoms and or causes of memory loss. Maybe you're going to talk about memory loss and its effect on learning. Well, that's actually a big one. Maybe you're going to talk about the treatments. Maybe there are treatments for memory loss. And then finally, maybe you're going to talk about all the types of memory loss out there. So your big topic that you're focusing the whole paper on is memory loss and learning. And then the 3 areas your paper will focus on will be causes and symptoms, treatments, and types of memory loss. So the structure of your essay, I tried to be very, very detailed on what I wanted to do. So this is a high structure essay. Number 1, everything has to be MLA format. And we'll talk about that, MLA document design. But you are going to need a title on this essay. Your title should reflect something about your topic. Do not use the assignment name as your title. I don't want to see informative essay research or informative research essay. That's not a title. That's the name of the assignment. Title should have in it something about your topic. Then what are you going to have? You're going to have an introductory paragraph. Your introductory paragraph, this is where you're going to provide kind of context for your topic or your subject. Talk about why did you choose this one? What's your interest in it? And you're trying to kind of invite or entice the reader to read the rest of your essay. In other words, why it might be important to them. You will end your introduction with a thesis statement that is 2 or 3 sentences long. It actually could be 1 or 2. I don't think you're going to be able to get 3 out of this. 1 or 2 sentence thesis statement. Your thesis statement needs to have the topic and what about the topic you're going to be covering in the essay. So I already told you it's going to be 3 things. So your thesis statement will have something about the topic, and then you're going to have the next 3 body paragraphs that whatever you're going to talk about in your body, that should be named in the thesis. Yeah, go for it.
Where's the restrooms at in this building?
If you go down here in the middle hall, yep, and they're on the left. So in the introductory paragraph, you're giving context, a little bit of background, why it's important for the reader to understand or know this information, why you chose this topic, what's your relation to the topic, and then your final 2 sentences are your thesis statement. I want them the last 2 sentences of your introduction. So if you think of a paragraph, a college level paragraph, as 7 sentences, 5 of them are dedicated to kind of preamble, leading the reader into what you're going to talk about. And the last 2 are your thesis, where you're directly naming the topic and items you're going to cover. Now, you can get that done in 1 sentence if it's a really good thesis statement. If it's a really good sentence. The trick to that is it'll be a longer sentence. Don't be afraid of those long sentences. So that's what I want you to contain in your introductory paragraph. Then in the body paragraph, so you're going to have 3 body paragraphs. You have 1 paragraph dedicated to the introduction. Then you're going to have the next paragraph dedicated to the first item you mentioned in the thesis. The second paragraph is dedicated to the second item you mentioned in the thesis, and the third body paragraph is dedicated to the third item you mentioned in the thesis. So each of those paragraphs need to start with a topic sentence. And your topic sentence should be something about what it's covering. Obviously, it's the main idea of the paragraph. You want the structure to match the thesis. So whatever order you mention them in the thesis, that's the order of the body paragraphs. Whatever one you mentioned first, that's body one. Body two, same thing. Then, of course, you are also going to need a conclusion. And a conclusion is where you're wrapping things up. You can kind of summarize all the elements, but it's a little bit more than that because you want to stress why it's important for the reader to know this information and kind of leave them enticed or kind of inspire them to want to go out and do their own research or do more research on the topic that you chose. It's kind of like the so what. If you think about, oh, you gave me this information, well, so what? What would you like them to do with it? What would be something that they can move forth on with it? So, oh, go for it. Say again. No, because you're not doing brain research. You are going to look at a specific area in the brain and how it learns. And whatever you look at, that could be the title of your essay. You're not researching the whole brain. You're going to research an element of the brain and relating it to learning. So we can brainstorm. We'll talk about some of those things. The writing requirements, as I said before, it's MLA 8 document design. It's the same thing we've been working on all semester, nothing new. But I put in some reminders here of what it is just to help you out. So you need to use Times New Roman style font, size 12, okay? Documents are double spaced and they have 1-inch margins. The MLA format, if you do it on your page, I'm gonna put it up here. Let me stop sharing so those of you can see it on the camera. If my page is here, this is my page, right? MLA document, remember you have to insert the header, right? Insert the header in the upper right-hand corner. This is your last name, space, page number. Then you come out of the header, because remember you inserted it, come out of the header, click into the page, and the first 4 lines, by the way, double spaced, first 4 lines have to have specific information. Your name, my name with the title, the name of the course, and then the date. And remember, the date has to be in that funky format, MLA format. What it is remember, it's got to be day, space, month, and you need to write out the name of the month, space, and then the year, okay? So it's in that format. Again, double space, and then what you need is your title. Title needs to be centered, and then you start the body of your paragraph, start with your introduction, and remember, everything is left aligned. And every time you start a new paragraph in your essay, you have to indent. So in a nutshell, that is MLA document design. And that's what you need to be adhering to and make sure you demonstrate within this essay. That'll be a heavy part of the grade. I'll show you the grading rubric when I'm done to make sure everybody understands it. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. The other thing is I want you to make sure that when you are submitting this for grading, I'm going to show you the grading rubric, but everything counts in large amounts. You are demonstrating the highest level of your writing ability when you submit this for grading. not in your drafting, but when you submit for a grade. So therefore, take no chances. Use the tools available to you. Use spell check, grammar check, edit heavily for any kinds of errors, typos, word choice, any of those kinds of things. How long should this be? It should be approximately 2 pages. If you are less than 2 pages, you are probably not fully developing those body paragraphs and giving enough information about that aspect. Okay? Yeah. This one here, is that what you're talking about? Yeah, it goes your name first, my name with title. Okay, my title is professor, so Professor Shirey. Then the name of the class. This, now I will let you go either English 115 or you can do critical thinking and critical reading. That's the official name of the class. And then the date. And the date has to be in a special format. It's day, space, month, space, year. And the day you can do just numbers. Like for example, what is today? The 3rd of November. So 03 space, write out the word November space 2020. Does that help clarify for you? Okay, excellent. All right. Now, the rule of this essay is you have to use all your own words. There is no copy paste. You are demonstrating your ability at sentence structure. Everything has to be in your own words. That's why it's crucial when you are reading and researching this information on your topic, you understand it. Because you can't do it in your own words if you don't understand the material. So make sure you have a good understanding of it. What you're going to do at the end of your essay, so let's say your essay is 2 pages long. On the 3rd page, I want you to provide me with a copy of all the hot links that you use to gather your information. So you just copy paste those hot links. And that's so I can go in and look at the information you looked at. So if you looked at like 5 different sites to gather information and learn about it, then list all 5. If you only looked at 1, then you list 1. I strongly recommend you look at more than 1 to gather information, right? But I'm not making a limit on it. It is whatever you think. So this is a separate page after the 2-page essay. So you're providing me with hot links, and it is important that they're hot links so that I can easily click and go see what you're looking at. If your hot links don't work, you're going to run the risk of either a low grade or a 0, and I'll say it's unacceptable, and you'll have to resubmit and get late credit or whatever.
How do we do hot links?
You copy paste the URL and paste it in a Word doc. I'll quick show that to you. It's a good question. So I'm just going to open a new tab and I'm going to make a new file. So what you do is you open a blank document on Microsoft Office Word, okay? And then let's say, I don't know, what site? I don't even know a site. I don't know. I'm going to go to So Sweetness because that's one I go to all the time. So the So Sweetness website, okay, I'm going to go in this. And let's say I gathered my information. I'm doing blah, blah, blah. I'm studying about sewing, yada, yada, yada. And then you just come up to the URL. That's always in the address box. You copy. Do you know how to copy?
Yep.
Okay. So you're going to copy. And then you go back to your document. And you just tell me which one this is. So Sweetness. And then below it, you paste. So Control V, whatever, there's my hot link. And then you'll know you did it right because it'll be blue and it'll be underlined. If it's not blue and underlined, that means it's not a hot link, which means although you put the address, something went wrong. It needs to be blue and underlined so that I can, now when I click on this, well, I'm in the document, but if I save that document and I click into it, it'll take me directly to the site. Yeah, Nick.
Since we already talked about memory in class. Can we still write about it?
Yeah, so let's talk about that because you also had kind of a question to alluding that. So before I get into, we're going to talk about topics. I just want to make sure the instructions for how to write the essay, everybody's clear on. Any questions on that kind of stuff?
We just follow the directions here.
Yeah, and they're right on there in resources in week 9. That's that file I was just showing you. Yes. So the other thing before I talk about topic, Nick, is I want to talk to you about the grading rubric. So the grading rubric, I always share ahead of time so you know what I'm grading on. This is what I use to grade your essay. So if you take a look at this rubric, there are multiple categories and multiple levels for each category. These are all the things I'm looking at in your essay. I'm going to look at your introduction. I'm going to look at your thesis. I'm going to look at how did you develop it. Those are your body paragraphs. I'm going to look at your conclusion. I'm going to look at the organization. Is it in a good order? Does it flow nice? I'm going to look at your style and tone. This is the way you are phrasing things, right? I'm going to look at your format. This is all MLA stuff. I'm going to look at the mechanics. These are things like spelling, capitals, periods, okay? So I look in detail at all of those things, and I tell you, you can score anywhere from 0 to 8 on these items. And what's going to happen is you're going to get this back. This will be, when you see your grade, it'll show you the number and the percentage, and it will also provide you which of those I clicked on for each item. So you can see, wow, I knocked it out of the park with thesis, but oh my gosh, I got 0 points on mechanics. I must have had a lot of errors. Does that make sense? So I try not to hide. I try to make sure I give you all that information. So now let's talk about the assignment this week and brainstorming a topic. So as I said before, the assignment looks deceptively easy. The assignment itself is not hard. Essentially, you're going to post a topic, 3 items related to that topic you're going to cover within the essay, and then you're going to go in and respond to 2 other people on their topic. And you can either make suggestions of what else they can cover within that topic, or you can ask them questions to help narrow down things. But you post once, but you have to reply to 2 others if you want full credit. Say again? Yeah, right. So in the activity, in the discussion, you have to post first. After you've posted, then you need to respond to 2 others. And you have to respond either exploring, giving them an additional option they can explore about their topic, or you can ask them questions about their topic.
And this is regarding
Yeah, you're choosing the topic for your essay, correct.
you want us to do this today?
This is due before Sunday.
So we just choose a topic, post.
Whereas people have already started doing it today.
Correct. Well, because they had class yesterday.
Right.
We want us to choose a topic, post something about, and then practice someone else's.
No. You're going to choose the topic and you're going to list 3 elements that you're going to cover about that topic within your essay. Then you go in and respond to someone else's topic in 3 elements. You can either suggest something else that they might want to think about, or ask them a question in regarding to their topic. So an example of this I give you is, okay, I want to choose memory loss. Does that have anything to do with the brain and learning? Yes, it does. It's kind of a big one, but so what about memory loss am I going to cover in my essay? Well, 1 paragraph is going to be dedicated to types of memory loss. 1 paragraph is going to be dedicated to signs and symptoms relating to memory loss. And 1 paragraph is going to be dedicated to causes and treatments in regarding memory loss. So I'm telling you that's what I'm going to do. So then someone else would post to me They may say something like, hey, one more item you might want to think about in memory loss is blah, blah, blah. Or they could say, have you thought about covering this with memory loss? Or do you know if memory loss also affects blah, 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 right? So it's a brainstorming exercise. The responses are meant to help the person who's posting think more about their topic, if they can refine it, if they need to narrow it down, if they want to look at something else instead of what they have. So I want to emphasize this is a brainstorming activity, so it's very important that you not only post, but that you respond. Now I want to take a look. So Lupe already posted week 9 activities. Are you in week 9? Okay, so number 1, are you in week 9? That's the 2nd of November through the 8th of November. So when you scroll down, there's activities, and it's topic choice. It's the discussion board. So I'm going to look at Lupe. I'm sorry, it's actually Samantha's post, and Lupe responded. Okay, so we're going to pick on Samantha. Samantha, her topic is brain tumors, and her 3 items, so she's going to do brain tumors, and then the 3 items she is going to talk about in her essay related to brain tumors are going to be 1, benign versus malignant tumors. The second paragraph is going to be about brain tumors and loss of memory or senses, sorry.
You good over there?
Yeah, I know, it's the mask, it's killing me. I have a hard time breathing, coughing, the whole 9 yards if you're all messed up.
These masks are terrible.
Hold on, I may have to take a break. I may have to take a break and go get a drink of water. Sorry. Brain tumors. First paragraph, brain tumors, the different types, benign versus malignant. Second paragraph, brain tumors in regards to how they affect loss of memory or how they affect senses, or both, right? Her third paragraph is brain tumors and what type of recovery or what type of treatments are available for those tumors. Do brain tumors and these items have anything to do with learning? Yes, that's the common link. Everything has to be linked somehow with learning in the brain. So now Lupe responded to her and she said, you should add examples in your essay. Great suggestion. Add examples for each of those within your essay. So you're not only going to talk about it, but you're also going to provide an example in each body paragraph. Does that make sense? So if we go back and let's look at Lupe's, Lupe posted language and brain development. That's her topic. Her 3 paragraphs are language and brain development, how it begins early. In other words, what ages this begins with. How it affects learning languages, what factors affect, like if you learn a different language, and then what factor are parents with language learning. Now that one, I mean, if I was posting, I would definitely suggest a little bit more on that because it's not clear how parents are affecting it with language and brain development. Now there is a link there, but it'll depend on how they develop it. So Samantha posted to her and said another option I would include while researching language with brain development would be to consider how the cultures you're brought up on affect how you learn. Excellent suggestion. Now, Lupe has an option. She's like, well, maybe I want to change one of those to cultures, or maybe I can put cultures in with parent support, where it could be parent/culture and how it affects language learning. Great suggestions there. But the goal is to help them in their brainstorming, okay, how am I going to develop this essay? Does that make sense? Everybody on track for the posting? So everybody understands how they're going to post. Now, word of caution, this looks deceptively simple. You do not want to do your posting of your topic until you have done your research. You want to be surfing the web. You want to go out there on the internet. You need to determine, okay, what is my topic and what elements of my topic am I going to want to cover? That is not a quick and easy thing. That's why I say it looks deceptively simple, but you need to make sure that you have found good sourcing, that you have done lots of research, and you have educated yourself enough that you understand it and you can write about it in your own words on that essay. So you're not going to just use one sourcing, you use multiple. This is where the CRAP test comes in. So if you're surfing the web, the big thing you have to do is establish, is it credible? Is the source you're using credible? Like I said, there are all kinds of sourcing out there. They are not all credible. So I provided the CRAP test for you. You use this to establish credibility of your sourcing to see, is this something I really want to learn from, or do I need to look for a better source? So the first thing is currency. How old is the information that you're reading? Just because it's on a website does not mean it's current. So especially with brain stuff, brain information, we're learning all kinds of new things about the brain. So I would caution you, if you have something that's over 2 years old, if they're giving you information over 2 years old, it's not valid anymore. You want to look for something more current. Reliability. How reliable? In other words, what kind of information is included? Is it primarily opinion? Is it balanced? Is it factual based? And where are they getting their facts from? So for reliability, whatever you're reading should provide you with references or sources from where they got their data. And if they don't do that, it's suspect. Because anybody can say anything. That doesn't mean they're right.
That's why you don't use Wikipedia.
Right, Wikipedia is not good sourcing. And personal blogs, they're also not credible.
Because it's all personal opinion.
Yep, so what you want is to look for credible sourcing, and reliability means they will provide you how they got their information. They'll give you other links to go to. And then the big one is authority. Look at who the creator is of the information, or in other words, who wrote it, the author. What are their credentials? What makes them the authority on this? In other words, if you're reading about it, why would you want to be learning from that person? What's their credibility? Are they reputable? So you might have to Google the author to find out some things. Sometimes it's self-evident. What I mean by that is if you're studying something on memory and the brain, whatever, and you get it off the Johns Hopkins website. Johns Hopkins is a medical hospital, right? They do a lot of medical research. Very reputable, very credible. So if a doctor posts an article on there, that would imply credibility, no problem. And it would definitely give him the authority. You might have to Google some of the stuff to find out. So for example, if they list doctor, what are they a doctor of? You know, doctor of neurology, doctor, you know, you don't want a cardiologist. You want someone who specializes in the brain, right? Because you're doing brain stuff, right? So you want to look at what is their authority. And then the last one is what's the purpose or point of view of the information you're reading. So for example, Johns Hopkins publishes stuff basically just to keep informed, for people to be informed. They're not trying to persuade you. But there are other sites that definitely are biased, trying to persuade you of things, and you want to be aware of this. Are they trying to sell you something? So if you're reading about how caffeine helps the brain and learning, look at the sourcing. Is it a company that manufactures caffeine products? That's biased. Look for as unbiased sourcing as you can to read. Like I said, if you have less than 2 or 3 sources that you're learning from, I'm a little worried. You should have at least 2 or 3 on your search. Question.
Yeah, about the topic
Yep.
choices, like, can I do something that has to do with like how ADHD affects the brain?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good, because that's.
Yeah, absolutely. So then what you want to do is look at ADHD. So what elements of it affecting the brain? So how does ADHD affect memory processing? How does ADHD affect working memory maybe? And then how, whatever, you see where I'm going. Yeah, absolutely. That's very relevant.
I could probably type a whole entire book on that.
Now keep in mind, you are gonna have to give me your sourcing that you get it. So make sure it's legit sourcing, because there's a lot of stuff with ADHD that is not legit. But yeah, absolutely. And if you have a high interest in it, that's even better, because then you don't mind surfing the web looking at that information, right?
'Cause that's what I think is
But
ADHD.
yeah, keep in mind, you gotta make sure all your sourcing passes the crap test. All right, so that's where you're spending your time this week. You're spending a lot of time surfing, a lot of time researching, figuring out your topic and what you're gonna cover about that topic in your essay. Remember, 3 main points about your topic you're gonna have. And each of your body paragraphs will start with a topic sentence that tells the reader in that paragraph what you're gonna be talking about. That's what we have for this week. Questions or concerns, issues on anything I've talked about or the essay itself, picking topic. Now, are you feeling more comfortable now about what I mean by topic in 3 areas? Did I clear that up? I know there was slight, I don't know if it's confusion or just not understanding yet. Hopefully I've clarified enough to make it understandable. All right. So Misty, how comfortable are you searching for a topic? Are you thinking, yes, I understand what I'm going to do. I just got to find my topic at this point.
Yeah, I took notes. I already came up with my topic.
Oh, wow. Okay. So make sure you do researching before you post in your forum so that you have 3 elements of that topic you're going to want to talk about in your essay.
Okay.
Okay. How about Nick? Where are you at, Nick?
About a 6 or 7. I don't think it should be that difficult.
Right. I think once you determine your topic, you'll be good. So at this point, you just got to kind of go with what your interest is in the brain and learning and then see what you can find about it. Oh, I forgot to show you one more thing, guys. So absolutely, you can look on the internet and then you got to do the crap test for credible sources. But let me show you our databases. Our databases here at SMC, all of the sourcing there is almost always credible, like 99% of it. You rarely have a problem with credibility. So if you find information in the databases, you're already pretty much done with the crap test. Let me show you. You go on our Wired, SMC Wired. You do have to be logged in to SMC Wired, okay? So when you're logged into SMC Wired, you see the green bar. In the green bar, you want to click on Library Resources. And what you see on the left side is a whole list of databases. Now, a lot of these databases won't be relevant for what you want. However, if you look at a couple, so for example, one of them I like is ProQuest Central. If I go into this one and click the hot link for ProQuest Central, I can do a search within the databases and it'll pull up good, credible information for me to read about my topic. And I can narrow it down pretty tightly. So Tyler, so when you do this search, by the way, you can do advanced search and you can use these Boolean operators. These Boolean operators, if you want to add more words to it to help you narrow down your search so you don't get like 15,000 articles on it, right? So Tyler, I want to use yours.
Okay.
We're going to say brain, and then we're going to say and ADHD, and I'm going to add another row, and I'm going to see, how about long-term memory? So the other part with advanced search is I want the full text, I want the full article. I can do all dates, but I actually want to limit it in the last 3 years. Remember I said really old information is not good for you with the brain. So the last 3 years. So now over here it tells you where will I find that word? Brain, anywhere in the article, ADHD, anywhere in the article, long-term memory, anywhere. I'm actually going to narrow this down a little bit more. And I'm going to say in the title, because if it's in the title, that means the whole article is going to be dedicated to that. Does that make sense? So when I do my search, I'm going to see how much pulls up. It says, oh, no results. So too much. I narrowed it too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to anywhere for 2 of these. And then I'm going to leave brain in the title, and we're going to see if I get any results. So here we go. We have 246 articles or sources. And then what you do is you have to kind of glance through and see, are any of these what I want? So unique expression profile in the mouse brain association. No, that's not going to do what I want to do, because I have to talk about human brains, right? Neurology, brain stimulation from basic health report, long-term memory deficits in an animal model. No, again, that's out. So what you do, okay, so my third one, the dynamic properties of brain network during spatial working memory tasks in college students with ADHD traits. Now that's a potential. That's a maybe, right? So then you can click into the article and read it and see if that's what you want. But essentially what you do is you look at the titles and you make a decision, is that an article I want to read or is it not I want to read? But all of these are credible sources. Absolutely. So do your searching in the databases and then you know it's credible. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, so that's another area that you can be searching that's very helpful. And there's a lot of databases, but not all of them are going to be beneficial to you. So for example, the first one, Art Store, it tells you what that database includes, by the way. This one, it gives you 1 million digital images and arts, architecture. Yeah, no, that's not what you want for this essay, right? So that one's not going to help you. The big ones that I would say focus on are Omnifile, Gale, and ProQuest. Those are the big ones where you're going to find the most opportunity for information. So your time this week is spent reading and researching, either on the internet or within the databases. Do make sure you establish credibility with a CRAP test on the internet sources. That's a big deal. The database articles you're pretty safe with. All right, I'm going to stop share. Questions or concerns, issues? Tyler, are you feeling fairly comfortable as well?
Yeah, very comfortable, about
Is-
a 9.
Okay, so is anybody not comfortable? Is there anything that you need me to clarify or go over to help you understand what you're going to do? Yes, go for it.
I just have a question.
Sure. For the posting, the discussion board? Okay, absolutely. Yes, I will. So let me go ahead and share my screen again. Okay, so the assignment this week for posting, you go into topic choice, and what you're going to do is you're going to add your discussion topic, whatever that may be, whatever you determine it. That's what you post. Add your discussion topic. I demonstrated mine. Mine was memory loss, but we're going to do temporal lobe. Sure. Whoop, let me back up. Temporal lobe. Okay. So then within the temporal lobe, what are the 3 items, in other words, the 3 body paragraphs, the 3 aspects, keep in mind, temporal lobe, and actually what I would recommend, temporal lobe and learning. So what aspects of the temporal lobe and learning are you going to cover in your essay? What would be the 3 areas? And that's what you're reading and researching to find. I don't know what you want to do. So if you're going to focus on the temporal lobe, no problem. Remember, it's not an essay just informing the reader about the temporal lobe. It's got to be related to learning somehow, how it learns, how your brain learns, or any of those kinds of things. But yeah, and then, okay, you post 1, 2, 3, and then post. After you do that, you go into someone else who is already posted, click into theirs, and do reply. You got to do that to 2 others. And if you look at, like for example, Samantha, she posted, and then Lupe replied. 2 people, correct.
And this should be what, 5 paragraphs, an essay?
The essay should be approximately 5 paragraphs,
Okay.
yes. Not the posting. The posting is simply
Posting should
Topic
just be
1,
the
2,
topic
3.
and the 3 things.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
kind of like your outline, kind of like, this is what I'm going to cover in my essay.
So our essay is just 5 paragraphs, kind of like we did last time, right?
Very similar,
Beautiful.
correct. It's highly structured.
Then I already know.
5 paragraphs to get to 2 pages though.
Yep.
I will be a little bit cautious with you in the fact that if you're coming up under 2 pages, there's something, you're not fully developing those paragraphs. Remember, those paragraphs are 7 sentences long each minimum.
Yep.
It's okay to go over 2 pages. It's not okay to go under. Good questions. Did that clear up the posting for you, sir? Okay. Anything else? Okay, it's all I have for you today. Go ahead, disinfect. You're welcome to head out. If you have questions or concerns, hang back. I'm happy to talk with you, help you out in any way, shape, or form. Remember, we're only going to meet 2 more times face-to-face, and then we are totally online the rest of the semester. So very important you understand Moodle and uploading and all that kind of stuff. Pay attention to due dates. Due dates are becoming more and more crucial for grading. So don't miss any assignments, any of that kind of stuff.
When is the essay due?
The essay is going to be due in 2 weeks. It's not next week. Next week, by the way, we're going to be drafting, which means I won't record the class. I'm going to be coming around and working with you wherever you're at in your drafting. I highly recommend the next time we meet, you have started your drafting. So I have something to help you with. The more you have, the more help I am. But drafting is going to go on next week. And then the final submission is the week after. Does that make sense? So we're dedicating 3 weeks to this essay. This week, next week, and the week after. Good, bad, ugly?
Good.
All right. I'm going to stop recording. Have a great week.
You too.
Misty, did you need me to go over anything with you?
Yes, I was.
Okay, hold on. I got to stop record.